I think COVID pushed me to my breaking point, and then I went over it, and I tried to pretend that I was okay and just carry on, but I wasn't okay, and I think COVID had sucked all the energy and happiness out of me.
When COVID-19 hit, Dr. Kim Hanning-Jackson, a specialist in gastroenterology, volunteered to lead the response at York Hospital. For 2 bruising years, she and her team worked on the front lines as one deadly wave followed another.
The sheer number of patients that were coming in sometimes, and they were so poorly, and sometimes, despite your best efforts, there was nothing that you could do, is hard to just push away into, the back of your mind and never to reappear.
Last November, she handed in her resignation and moved to the Highlands of Scotland with her young family to start a new life.
Don't get me wrong, York Hospital, I have many happy memories from it, but there's also sadness. I needed to go to a dark place, to have nothing left in the tank, to then go, okay, I need to completely rebuild myself, rebuild my life. And that needs to be somewhere completely new, out in the open, where I can find myself again.
So this is one of the COVID positive wards in the hospital where some of the sickest patients are currently being looked after.
We first filmed with Kim in January 2021. It was during the second wave of the pandemic, when York Hospital was dealing with huge numbers of COVID patients.
They were also desperately poorly and they were terrified. And to a degree, so were we looking after them, particularly in the early days when, we didn't have a treatment plan for these patients. We had oxygen and we could keep them comfortable, and that was about it. We see the sickest people in the hospital. We see a lot of death. The dealing with the deaths became really, really tough, because normally in medicine you face death. That for sure, patients will die, but not as frequently as they were doing on the COVID wards. The second weekend, I think, of COVID in York, I had to ring 10 families in quick succession to tell them that their loved one had passed away. That's really hard. So this is Honeysuckle Cottage, and this is the second cottage we've renovated in the Highlands, or we're renovating in the Highlands.
Kim is currently on maternity leave, and while still employed as an NHS doctor, she's also branching out, developing holiday lets. Why was it important for you to do something different?
Well, I think we just needed a completely different life from what we had in York. The job that I had as COVID lead was all consuming. It was everything, and I had no outlet. Doing something like this, a different project that's completely outside of medicine, is a nice outlet for me. Despite the mess, it's actually not stressful.
How would you say the pandemic has changed you?
Gosh, I'd say it's changed me completely. I was utterly career-driven, career-orientated. The job was very much my life. And don't get me wrong, I love being a gastroenterologist up here in the Highlands. But now very much the job pays the bills, and what comes first is my family, and actually, crucially, myself. And I have time now to do things that I wouldn't have done for myself 3 years ago. I would say that I have been through a personal trauma that I'm now on the other end of, and I acknowledge that I probably was damaged at the time. Back in 2022, physical and mental damage was definitely there. Now I have mended most of it, and I'm still mending myself. There's still a healing process to go through. I think being able to escape and just go onto an empty beach and just walk for miles is a great way to escape. I think the common theme is just getting away from it all, not seeing another soul for miles.